Losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it. Hey guys, welcome to Therapy Thursday with me, Nelsie Spencer, and the beautiful and talented Heidi Haddad, who's giggling already before anything begins, and of course, the always wonderful and bearded Ronnie Whaley. Hey guys.
Hi.
Hello.
So, it's Therapy Thursday. Can we get the energy up? Guys, what the fuck?
I'm waiting.
You look like you're sitting on a stool, like cross-legged, just like, hey, welcome to the bar. You know, behind me, you're going to... You won't believe
behind me, you'll see my shelves that I put up, okay? It only took me 5 hours. Yes, an entire Sunday to put up 2 shelves, but I fucking did it. Okay, so, but can we get the energy up? Yeah, okay, good. So, it's Therapy Thursday, and you guys know what that means. Ronnie went, woo.
I don't know what you mean by energy, but I'm here for it.
I'm like, I don't know who you're telling. I can see him.
I'm here.
All right, maybe I need to take my energy down. So, welcome to Therapy Thursday.
Who are you telling that Ronnie went, woo?
The people that are just listening.
Yeah, they still can't see you.
Oh.
He went woo.
Ronnie put his hands up like he was saying how
raising the roof.
I was raising the roof.
He was raising the roof. Come on, Nelsie, you should know better.
I was raising the roof from this
From
place.
your boobs?
Yeah,
from my boobs. So it's not really the roof. Say
raising my boobs.
I was raising my boobs. Yeah. Needed a lift.
Oh, God. All right. So I have a Luther Vandross story related to raising the roof, but I'm not going to go there.
No, tell us.
Okay, so I used to take a step class. This was 110 years ago. No, it wasn't. It was in the 90s. And Luther Vandross used to take the class. So Luther Vandross,
amazing.
Yes, Luther Vandross, and it was when, it was during one of his skinny phases, you know. And he would come, and he was always in the front, and he, like, the teacher would be teaching a move, and Luther would kind of improvise on it, like he would change it a little bit, right? And when he would change it, I would follow him, and I would do what he was doing. And then it got to the point where I came into class one day, and he had put a step down, and for me, he's like, "Where's my partner? I got a step for you." Swear to God. So then Luther and I became like sort of step buddies. Like I'd do an alternative and look at him and then he'd do it, right? And one of the moves was
like a movie.
Raise the roof. Raise the roof. Yeah.
It's like a montage in a movie.
That was the Luther move. I copied it and still use it to this day, I will say. When I'm by myself in my garage. Sometimes
doing jazzercise?
Doing step to Luther Vandross, who is so sadly is no longer with us. And that's it. That's my Luther story. Oh, and I ran into him at the movies once with his date, and it was Magnolia, which I don't know if you remember that movie. No. Yeah, but it's a little bit dark. And I ran into him right next to the popcorn stand. I'm like, Luther. He's like, "Oh my God, how are you?" I'm good. He said, "Oh, we're leaving. This is too weird." He said, "But you can have our seats. We have good seats." So we went in and took his and his date's seats. That's it. That's the end of my Luther Vandross story, but a good story.
Good seats.
Oh, and such a nice guy.
What are good seats in a movie theater?
Well, 2/3 of the way down aisle.
And did you not have seats at all?
We had shitty seats. We were way in the back. It was a Saturday night. You know, remember when people used to go to the movies and if you went on a Saturday night, like at 8, it would be packed? Yeah.
Yeah, remember, that was before they gave you assigned seats.
Yeah. Well,
now you order your seat.
And did you know the theaters are open
Did you know,
again?
Ronnie, they used to do that you actually just had to go in general admission to a movie theater?
Yeah, and well, in the Philippines, they still do that. Well, some places you pick and some places you don't, and you just walk in. And after the movie's done, you could just stay there and watch the movie again if you just wanted to. And you don't have to pay, you know what I mean? And you could literally, I did that, I watched the movie 3 times one time when I was a kid. Just because I could.
Just because you could, right.
Yeah, I had nothing better to do.
Apparently.
Yeah.
What movie did you watch 3 times? Maybe you should have.
Yeah.
What movie did you watch 3 times?
You should have been using your time wisely, like by doing some drugs, Ronnie, instead of 6 hours in a movie theater.
Yeah,
go outside, grab a bong, get some fresh air.
What are you,
What movie did you see, Ronnie?
I forgot. I think it was Scooby-Doo. Okay. The one where they did the live action Scooby-Doo. I think I saw that. I thought adorable. Scooby-Doo was real. I was really young.
That's Scooby adorable. Isn't real?
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what. So I want to talk about this thing I had with this girl.
Okay.
Just because it was like super weird. Honestly, the only reason I want to talk about it is because I want to see what you guys think.
Okay.
You know, it was just super weird.
Yeah, me too.
I've known this girl for a very long time. We met in the Philippines back in my hometown. We used to yeah, during those eras. We would only meet when we would go out to like bars and stuff like that when I was like just coming out of high school. And, you know, we would hook up by just like making out at bars and stuff. It's the furthest it's ever gone. And we kept in contact for years. And I'm 25 now, and that was back when I was like 16, 17, right? And so we've still kept in contact. And recently, she goes to school, and she was on spring break recently, and she was like, "Why don't I come visit you?" And she lives in Seattle now. Right? She said, "Why don't I fly over and visit you for like 4 days?" And I was like, "Yeah, 4 days. That sounds like a great idea. Sure, let's do it." So, and plus, like, you know, we've been texting and all that. And sometimes the texting can get to a place where it's like sometimes sexual, right? But never too far, you know? So it's clear that there is some sort of like mutual flirtation. I wouldn't say spark. Because
Nelsie's farther away from 25 than me, so flirtation.
Yeah, I would honestly say
I'm just stopping myself from saying "fuck you," Heidi. I'm just stopping myself from saying that. Just so you know.
Just so you know, you said it.
But I didn't say it to you. I just talked about saying it to you.
Talked around it. All right, back to you, Ronnie. Okay, so I'm no longer on the edge of my seat. Get to it.
There's a flirtation vibe there when we talk, and so we pick her up. Me and my roommate Abaz, we drive over to Boston to pick her up because that's like an hour away, and that's the closest airport, international airport, I'd say. We drive over there, pick her up.
She's coming from Seattle.
I'm on the East Coast.
Just
no, but I mean like because if the closest airport, she would have to get a connection. You know what I mean? So this is important because we had to drive an hour and a half to get there. It's a long time, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we pick her up. You know, and I haven't seen her in years. And I like hug her, like, "Oh, nice to see you." She was like awkward when I hugged her, and then we get in the car. Then Bob's like, "We should go to a bar in Boston. We haven't been in a big city in a while." So we go to the bar. And
is this during the pandemic?
This was like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, so yeah. Yes, okay,
yeah. And so we go to the bar, and we get nachos. Then
of course,
yeah. So I ask, the nachos are near her. I ask her, "Hey, could you pass over the nachos?" She goes, "No." And I'm like, "Why? Can I just have the nachos?" And she's like, "No." And I realized she's doing this thing where she's like playing with me like in kindergarten, right? Yeah. By the way, she's a year younger than me. She's 24. Yeah.
That explains it.
And so that's that. And I'm like, okay, I'm already not liking this. Then we go back home. Then we drink the whole night, and you know, there's this vibe where she's like, kind of like she's doing that thing that like poking fun at me, like being kind of rude, honestly.
Being a little bit really shitty. Being a little shitty.
Yeah, but then I think it's because of the fact
she's uncomfortable.
I don't know if it's uncomfortable. More, it's like the kindergarten thing where you're like, if you like someone, you
insecure.
Maybe.
Well, no, that's how she's flirting.
I don't know.
Like you
That's
punch
I
the
guess
guy
so.
you like. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. So that's
Right.
what it kind of feels like, right? And then
Right.
so when we
You
come
just say, this isn't sexy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I don't like this at all. And so also another thing, so after the night of drinking, we come back to my room and she's like, "Where's the air mattress?" Because I said that there would be an air mattress. And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, sure, okay." I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen. So I had the air mattress in my room. So I was like, okay, she was like, "I'm gonna go take a shower. And why don't you blow up the air mattress?" And it's like 3 a.m., right? So I blow up the air mattress, which is like really loud because you plug it in, right? And there's like a fan. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I got to do it. Where's she going to sleep? I'm like, so I plug it in, right? And then I plug it in and it blows up for like 10 minutes, really loud at 3 a.m. After that, I get into bed waiting for her in my bed. And she comes back from the shower. Then she just comes into my bed.
Can I ask what you're wearing when you're in bed?
I'm wearing just like shorts and a shirt.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah.
As opposed to what did you think, Nelsie?
I don't know. I sleep naked.
Did you have an image?
I don't know. I think that in this situation, which is sort of like what is going on, what I would put on to get into my bed as I wait for the girl that I haven't seen in 8 years to get in the air mattress. I think I would think about that a lot. I wouldn't get into bed naked. No, I wouldn't. That's why I was wondering.
Yeah,
he doesn't like her right now. He's not appreciating how
he doesn't like her. No, he doesn't like her,
naked?
but he is human, and he still might want some action. That's all
absolutely.
I'm saying. Thank you.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I don't really like her, but that doesn't mean I don't want to have sex with her.
Well, she's gonna be here for 4 days. You know, she.
I drove an hour and a half.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Come on.
She paid $400 to come spend the 4 days with me.
And she didn't
She
do
had spring break, and she's like, "Where do I want to go? Let's see, Bahamas, Fort
Mexico.
Lauderdale. No,
Ronnie's penis.
Yeah, exactly.
New Hampshire. Yeah.
Yes. Who exactly would spend $400 to go to New Hampshire on your spring break? I mean, come on, no one.
Right. Look at the eyes. No one.
No one would do that. So anyway, so she gets out of the shower, right? And I'm in the bed, right? I'm just on my phone, right?
Of course.
Yeah. And she just crawls into bed with me in my bed, right after the shower. And then she's like, "Do you want a spoon?" And I was like, "Okay." And then in my head, I'm like, "Why the fuck would you make me blow up the air mattress? It's so loud. It's 3 a.m. It's so loud. Like, come on."
Yeah.
So,
talk about your mixed messages.
Spoon your own.
Right, and spoon.
Like,
who wants? Let me just say, and you tell me
Yeah.
if I'm wrong, Ronnie, but I think I might be right. Most men do not want a spoon pre-coitus. Post-coitus, yeah, I'll spoon, but spooning is.
Ronnie, before you even answer that, I'd like to say that's very gendered of you.
Of me?
what?
Yes,
I know. I'm very
if somebody
gendered. I'm
was
being
hot for
extremely
teaching-
gendered here.
I know, but you don't think there are women that want to get in bed also, and this
Do it
girl,
right away?
whoever this is, and say, "Would you want a spoon?" That the other woman's going, "No, I don't want to."
No, exactly.
Spoon.
I do agree with that. I also think, though, that the male sex organ hangs out and the women's sex organ does not. So if you're spooning,
matter.
there's a
It's about your
situation that's
libido.
going on. All right.
I'll see. Let's go back to
men
Ronnie's
have more
story.
testosterone than women. That is a fact.
I'm not on the same page with you guys. I don't understand what you guys are talking about. But I spooned her.
Oh, okay, let's get that.
I did spoon her. Just want to make that clear. I don't think I got that far.
No, because we
What
decided.
the hell you guys are talking about? What? Woman wants to spoon, I'm gonna spoon her. Done.
Yeah.
Not an idiot.
I mean, think about it. Like,
It's not
there's a girl in my bed.
package hanging out of my.
There's a girl in my bed asking me if I want a spoon.
The answer is
You want a
yes.
spoon? Okay.
The answer is
fucking
yes.
spoon.
Do you want a spoon? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
you're
we
spooning.
spoon. So we spoon, right? And I'm in the spoon position. And I want to make clear that I'm the outer spoon because I've told this story and people are like, were you the inner spoon? I'm like, why the fuck would I be the inner spoon? So I'm going to make clear I was the outer spoon. I was the outer spoon, right?
Thank you.
Make that clear.
He knows his audience, Nelsie.
Yeah, exactly. So we're spooning, right? And I'm like, okay, there's a reason she asked me to spoon, right? Am I crazy here? Like, she wants to spoon. So I'm also like on the fence too. I'm like, I don't know what is going on.
Are we snuggling or is this foreplay? Is that what you're wondering, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Okay, thank you. I'm so glad I got something.
Am I slipping it in? What is she wearing?
Well, so she's wearing.
She's naked.
No, she's not. she's not naked, but she's wearing like just like a t-shirt and like sweatpants. That's what she's wearing, and socks too. All right.
And so,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
So
she's taking the sexy vibe.
Wait, also,
down.
last question. Is she inebriated at all?
Barely.
Okay. So
yeah.
This is
barely.
Turn off. Go ahead.
So we're spooning, right? And then she's like, we started talking, and then I'm like, okay, what do we do here? What do I do to get to the next level if we were going to have sex, right? So I think I went and just said, do you want to make out? And then she was like, I'll think about it. And I was like, okay, it's fair. And then we just spooned.
I don't know if that's fair. I don't think that's fair.
Well, I mean, I think the problem is I can't be like, what the fuck you want to think about? I can't be like pushing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
obviously I can't do that.
That's a turnoff.
No, right. And also I can't force myself upon her. Like that's
no, you don't want
wrong.
to do that. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
But so I'm like, if you're gonna think about it, that's fine. So we spooned for like 45 minutes, right? And I'm like, she's thinking about it for the 45 minutes, and at the end of 45 minutes,
and are you chatting throughout all this? Are you talking?
She's talking really, and I'm just like listening, like she's
and rolling your eyes a lot.
I'm just like staring at the ceiling, like, yeah, I'm pretty tired. It's like 4 a.m. at this point. And then I just pass out, right? So that's the first night. The second night, so yeah, whatever happens the day happens. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect what happens at the night. Because at nighttime, we're always in bed, right? So the second night, we're spooning again, right?
Wait, Nelsie, please.
Pause for a second.
This story is almost torturous. Please get through it.
But did you guys have fun during the day, or was she doing that shitty thing?
She was still doing the shitty thing the whole time.
Okay.
Like she was,
that was an important question.
It is,
okay.
She was. And
oh, you did. I'm sorry. God,
so we're spooning again the second night, and then I'm like spooning, and then I'm like, okay, I touch her ass a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, let's get some going here.
You're spooning. How are you not touching her ass?
I'm touching her ass with my hand this time.
Okay.
So I'm like touching it, like, oh yeah, your ass, and she's like, oh yeah, you like my ass?
Or did you just think that?
I might have said it. I don't know what I was saying. I was trying to say anything at that point, trying to get some communication across. And she was like, yeah, you like my ass? I'm like, yeah, I like your ass. And and then she was like, all right. And then I ask, I'm touching her ass. For like 10 minutes, I'm touching her ass, right? And she's like, and then I'm like, do you want to make out? And she's like, you know what? I'll think about it. But keep touching my ass, right? Yeah. I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, maybe she needs a foreplay before anything, right? And nothing happens after that.
I need some foreplay with this story.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like I'm not gonna lie.
Ass touching is certainly foreplay. Come on, for some people, I think ass touching is foreplay.
All right. Go ahead and circle back to that, Nelsie.
So then I just pass out after that, and I'm like, I don't fucking know. And so the third night, I'm like, let's just get into this. I know what's gonna happen. We're gonna spoon. We're gonna touch her ass. All right, let's move this along here and figure out what's going on. So we're spooning. I'm touching her ass. She's into it. And then like she's like, touch my boobs. I'm like, okay, I'll touch your boobs. Hell yeah, I'll touch your boobs. And so I touch her boobs. And then she's like,
I'll touch your boobs. You don't have to ask me twice.
So I'm touching her ass and her boobs. And then I ask again, so have you thought about it? Is it cool if we make out? And she's like, I'll think about it, right? But
Why
then she's
are you
like,
asking? Just kiss her.
Well, you can't tell him that. It's already happened, Heidi.
It's because.
What do you mean?
Well, the thing is because
he can't go
Got
back.
it. I understand. Got it.
No, but the whole reason I was asking,
it's like watching a TV show.
Is
Don't
because
do
she
that!
told. Yeah, exactly. Well, the whole reason that I asked is because she said she was going to think about it.
Well, so I don't know why you asked to begin with.
Because she was kind of put off, like she was kind of standoffish the first night. So I was like, I don't want to, I don't want her to feel trapped because she's here for 4 days. Like I don't want to, what is she going to do if she feels like
so much commentary, Ronnie? Let's get to the end of the story and then I'll comment on it.
Yeah, I'm almost there. I'm almost at the end, right? And so she's like, I'll think about it, right? And then I'm like, okay. So I'm touching her ass and her boobs for like an hour, right?
Oh my God. This is the worst story ever.
Like an hour.
Like an hour.
Terrible.
Right? It goes from being fun to being torture. I now hate her ass and her boob.
And if this story culminates in you having sex, I will be shocked if it's good. Go on.
So after the hour, I'm like, okay, I think it's okay that I make a move here. Right? I think it's safe to say that I can. So I'm touching her ass and I try to
himself.
Yeah, I said it to myself.
Yeah,
exactly.
Says to himself.
I said it to myself. And so I'm touching her ass and I go down the gooch area to the vagina just to see if like I can get some in there. Like, like maybe this will help her in the foreplay section. Like I'll help her out before we worry about me. You know what I mean? And she's like, whoa, you're getting too close. You're getting too close. That's what she says. You're getting too close. And I'm like, oh, sorry. And so I back out and I'm like, okay, she doesn't want me to touch her vagina. But then she's like, keep touching my ass and my boobs. I'm like, okay. And I do that for like another 10 minutes and I just pass out. So that's that night. So the last night, I'm like, okay.
Thank God it's only 4 days.
Oh my God.
I mean, the first day I was just like, I regret all of this. But so the last night.
Not as much as I do.
Oh, come on. He's bearing his soul, for God's sake. We love you. We support you, Ronnie. We do. Keep going.
Okay, fine.
So the last night, we're touching. I'm touching her ass, touching her boobs. Been there in bed for like an hour, right? And I ask again, like, you've been saying that you're thinking about kissing, and but you want me to touch your boobs and your ass, and you don't want to make out, and I just wonder, like, am I doing something wrong here, right? And she's like, no, it's not that. I'm just like wondering if it's going to be a good idea. But then she's like, but could you massage my butt, right? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I will because I want to, but okay, but we will talk about this later. And so I'm massaging her butt, right? And it's getting pretty heated, honestly. Like,
yeah.
It's getting pretty heated. Because I'm like, this is 4 days of foreplay, right? And I'm just like, this is the last night. If she expects anything to happen because she came here to spend 4 days with me in my bed, I'm like, okay, well, it all adds up that she is interested in maybe, having sex at some point, right? And so
that is not a crazy conclusion to come to. That is
Are you kidding me? I think it's an insane conclusion to come to.
Well, now it is. But
well, here. I'm pretty much almost done. But so at the end of I'm massaging her butt, and she's like moaning as I'm massaging her butt, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, she's getting into this. So I whip my dick out, right? And because I feel like we should talk about it because I had a boner, and I was
no
like,
shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like,
yeah, you've had a boner for 4 days, probably.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I'm like, I felt like I should talk about it. Talk about my boner that I've been having.
Here or that night?
Well, that night, but I'm explaining. Yeah. So I was like, yeah. So I got this boner. So I feel like, we should do something about this. And so I whip it out, and as soon as I whip out my boner, she totally is completely like standoffish. She's just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go take a shower and you can go finish yourself off and then I'm gonna go to bed. And I'm like, okay. And she like walks out the room. And then that was the last night, and then we drop her off the next day. I haven't talked to her since. So
you are going to send her a copy of this, though, right?
I don't care.
And just for the record, you never kissed her, correct?
Never.
So you whipped out your dick and never had laid lips on lips.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I think we could end there.
So what's going on? My question is what did I do something wrong, and did she? What was going on with her? You know what I mean? Also, her dad has been dead since she was 3. Just putting that out there.
All right.
I don't think we can blame this on the dead dad.
No.
I'm just saying. I'm just putting that out there.
Just giving it some context, just in case maybe.
I know, that's the only
something.
context? Dead dad? No.
Well, she
Ronnie, I reject it.
She's only had 2 boyfriends before that. That's another thing that I know.
She's 24.
Yeah, she had 2 boyfriends before that. And
maybe she's never had sex.
But she also is very sexual on social media. Like, she posts a lot of like sexual stuff on social media. She posts a lot of
nothing.
Yeah, I mean, like, but it's
it
like
means something to Ronnie in that he's dealing with this young woman, who is giving mixed messages, like from moment to moment, right? So, coming to visit, they have kind of sexy texts going on. She says, blow up the mattress. He blows it up. Then she gets into bed with him. Can we spoon? I mean, so she's,
yeah. By the second night, I call my friend. I call my friend who's a girl, and I ask her if I'm doing something wrong, because I want to make sure that I'm not crossing any lines. You know what I mean? And she was just like, all of this is weird. Like, she came all the way to see you, and slept in your bed. And like, what is she? So I'm like, well, I don't know,
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So Heidi, I know you have many thoughts. So many.
Please.
Oh, should I now?
Go.
Yeah.
Oh. 1, communication would have been a really great tactic. Hey, I know you're coming and you're here, and last night was kind of strange or whatever. Is the intention for us is this a romantic trip, or what's your intention? Or, hey, I really like you, and the way in which you're talking to me doesn't feel good. Or is this your way of flirting? And blah, blah. I mean, there are so many different ways, but having a conversation about it would have clarified, elucidated.
I should have mentioned. Well, I tried to have conversations like that just because I was tired of like trying to figure it out myself. So when she was being like really mean, I was like, hey, I don't respond well if you're trying to be funny by being like kind of mean to me and rude. And she was like, that's just my attitude. That's just who I am. That's what she kept saying. She kept blaming it on her attitude and who she was. I'm like, yeah, but it's not nice. I'm just like, well, that's just who I am. You just have to get used to it if you want to hang out with me. You know what I mean?
She sounds very young and not in touch with herself. Okay, so maybe she's a virgin as much as she puts out this sexual stuff online, and doesn't mean that she's actually had sex. And so maybe that's what's happening in some way.
Do you know to the contrary, Ronnie, whether she is or
Well,
not?
she said she's had sex. She's had 2 boyfriends before that she used to have sex with. I mean, she's even said that she has been in a 3-way, She's told me these stories, you know what I mean? I don't know if it's a story. True. I don't know if it's true.
I'm questioning the veracity.
To tell me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, even more so than I'm questioning the veracity of that. So let's take her off the table. Here's this person that comes to visit who you don't know very well, but you're having flirty conversation with, and she is engaging with you in a way that doesn't feel good to you, and yet you're just like, well, I don't care, I'll still stick it in.
Nah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm saying this to say the setting wasn't really conducive to something that was necessarily going to feel good. Not only was she giving you the mixed messages, but she was not engaging with you in a way that felt kind or sexy on any level, so that by the time the night came around, you're like, cool, all right, you're getting in bed, we're going to snuggle, check. We're going to spoon, check. I'm going to touch your boobs, check. I'm going to touch your butt. I mean, there's nothing sexy about this story at all.
Oh, yeah,
right?
I
But
agree.
unless you're just thinking like, oh, there's a hole, I can put something in it and let me just take care of that, which isn't sexy.
Well, my thing is that she would ask me to do these things to her. Like, can you spoon me? Can you touch my ass? Can you touch my boobs? You know, like... Right,
which opportunity for you to either say, like, hey, what's going on here? It doesn't seem like you really want to do this, or do you? And then there's that. And then the other thing is that I would offer that making a move on her, and I don't mean like smashing her mouth with your mouth. I mean, if you're spooning her from behind, you could be kissing her neck. You could be...
I did do
what's
that.
Okay.
So I was like kissing her neck and her cheek and stuff. And then like, but then she was like, oh, that she likes that. But then like when I would get closer to her mouth, she would like go away. Right.
So what is it that made you want to keep going?
She was here for 4 days. And the thing is also is that I told her, like, do you not want to sleep in the bed, in the air mattress? And she was like, oh, I don't like it on the air mattress. It's uncomfortable. I'd rather be here. And you're also spooning me. So that's cool. Like, okay.
Oh my God. The whole thing makes my heart hurt because it's so, I see you, Ronnie, trying really hard and trying to figure her out. But I love, Heidi, I feel like we could have a t-shirt that says communicate, 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 because Heidi again and again and again goes back to that, saying what you're thinking, saying what you're feeling, which is not easy oftentimes, and certainly is not easy when when the rules aren't clear and the roles aren't clear and all of that. So I have to say that, I don't know her, and I know she has her own stuff, and I'm not judging her because I don't know her. But my heart really goes out to you because I see that you're really trying. And even though she seems kind of like a shit, she's like, well, she came to see me, and we used to be friends, and so
used to make out all the time. And
also
in high school. That's
used to make out all the time in high school.
That's the only reason we knew each other.
Yeah. And so, to be honest and fair, there's also a part of you is like, like as Heidi said, you want to be crude, like, oh, you're going to stick your dick in a hole. Okay. All right. But sometimes you just want to, we've all done things that maybe, and had sex with people that, even though we've had, warning bells going off, because what starts to get clear is, I just want to have sex. I just want to, so that becomes the driving force. So, I mean, I completely agree with what Heidi said.
Have you been in a situation like that, Nelsie?
Not for 30 years.
Even so, I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I'm like knocking at someone's door to have sex. Well, that's hilarious. But as I reflect on something recently, but knocking at the door, I have had plenty of situations which, like, bada bing, bada boom kind of thing. And then afterwards I thought, why did I do that? And that, and the warning bells, but not the amount of work you were doing, Ronnie. You were working way too hard for something that wasn't being reciprocated ultimately. And it was confusing.
But you just kept reciprocating enough to keep him on the hook. That's what I see.
That's my thing.
Touch my
butt, reciprocating,
touch
receiving.
my boob.
Receiving,
right? Receiving. You're right. There wasn't
or directing or something.
Yeah. Keep touching my butt. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, very good.
She sounds very young in that way, but I circle back to what Nelsie. I reiterate and agree with Nelsie. Communicate. If you had communicated across the board and just been like, so it's okay if I touch your butt and it's okay if I touch your boobs, but you don't want me to put my mouth on yours. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, honestly, that's something I tried, and I didn't try as much after the first couple times I tried, just because she was like totally not down to have those conversations. She was not down to open up about it and stuff, and it was just like, I felt like, honestly, my whole thing was like, I also didn't want to make her uncomfortable, especially with the fact that she's here just to see me in this place. If she wants to leave, she couldn't just leave. I didn't want to make her feel like she was trapped at all, ever, right? That's my whole thing.
It's like, so kind of you. So you touched her butt and her boobs for her?
No, not that. I did. I mean, obviously, I was, I wanted to do that, but like, I didn't want to be like, I didn't want her to feel threatened at all. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I know exactly what you mean. And also, here's a question. Like, after the first night, was there a part of you that thought, oh my God, if I could just wave a magic wand, she'd be gone? I don't know if I want three more days of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Actually, at the bar, I was like, bad idea.
At the bar when she was being shitty. Yeah.
I think that's the thing to look at. I think that's the focus, right? Who knows what her story is? And if at the bar you were wishing that she wasn't sleeping at your place and you could just be like, you know what, I gotta go, and you could leave the bar and go home, then when she had said, can I get in bed with you, been like, if you want the bed, go ahead, I'm gonna sleep on the air mattress and cut it. You know, and after maybe you give it like one try on the first night, and then the second night you're like, no, I'm not, no thanks. Which is you taking back your power. You're not making it uncomfortable for her. You're not doing anything other than taking care of yourself. You weren't enjoying the vibe between you. If you were hot and flirty all day long, and then you got in bed at night and that was what was happening, we'd be having a different conversation slightly.
Absolutely.
Right? Not that different, but still, you weren't even interested, and you were still.
I don't like her
that's such a good point. Well, but you know what? It sounds like, Ronnie, that, and I relate to this, is that your needs weren't on the table. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't want her to feel uncomfortable. I don't want her, you know, and yes, you enjoyed touching her butt and her boobs, but that was also you in reaction to what she asked you to do. Not necessarily, you know what I mean? Not that you didn't enjoy it. So, and I think it's, you know, that being able to go, what does taking care of me look like here? Or does this feel good for me? And if it doesn't, what can I do? And I know I keep saying this, but I just love that Heidi always says, communicate, communicate, communicate. And that thing of being able to say, you know, when this happens, I feel this way. And, you know, using I statements and all that. I mean, maybe you could help a little bit with that, Heidi, because, you know, they're in a fucking charged situation even, you know what I mean? So the language around it, to me, feels like it's important because it's delicate. You're in bed together, you're spooning, but, you know.
I don't even know if I would have asked knowing that you weren't even interested. Why even ask about it or mention that you're confused by the mixed messages, except originally? I mean, other than the original saying, to your point, however you articulated that you're not liking how she's talking to you, which is fine, and could say, I'm not enjoying this dynamic. Can we change the way in which we're engaging with one another? I'm hearing you make fun of me. I'm hearing you criticizing or whatever word you want to use that would describe what she's actually doing, and it just doesn't feel good. I'm not having fun. She said, that's just my attitude. You have to get used to it. So here's the question. What could have been his next response to that? Yeah, I don't want to. That's not something I want to get used to.
Well, what I said. That's
a good one, Nelsie.
I said what I. Yeah, well, actually, what I said was similar to that. I was like, you know, a lot of people don't like that. You know, people are not going to understand that. You know. Mm-hmm. And then she was like, under her breath, she was like, yeah, that's what my friends say. And then like she just like changed the subject. I was like, well, all right. Seems like a touchy subject.
You know what, honey? You dodged a bullet.
Look,
chalk it up to it only being 4 days. Thank you that it was only 4 days.
4 painful days, but you dodged a bullet, and she's got some issues, and we bless her and got good luck. And
honestly, like, if I'm being completely honest, it was a completely physical thing, you know? And we would talk on the phone. It was a completely physical thing. But even then, I was like, none of this is worth it.
So you kind of, it wasn't that big of a surprise because you kind of saw maybe that she had some issues before she even. It was worse in person.
Yeah.
The retelling of the story was pretty terrible, so I can appreciate what it was like in it.
Oh my God.
Oh man. But at the end, you know, I got to have some lobster rolls. I've never had lobster rolls.
Is that euphemism?
So there you go.
No, I literally, we dropped her off in Boston. We dropped her off in Boston.
No, she said, touch my breast, touch my butt. And you know what? Let's do some I want to do some lobster rolls. It's a sexual move.
Rolling in bed.
Yeah, that involves one hand on the ass, one hand on the boob, and then you roll. It's called a lobster roll.
The best part of everything is that we dropped her off at the airport, and me and Abaz went and got
you did a
lobster rolls.
backflip. You dropped around and you went, woohoo! You raised the roof.
Yeah, I've never had lobster rolls before. They're amazing.
They're amazing.
They're so good.
I don't know what it is.
You know, it's like
just a sushi roll.
It's
right?
No. It's
like on a bread.
It's bread. So they have like they cut a piece of bread in half, right? And they just put lobster in it with buttered bread, and just put lobster right there, and then you dip it in butter, and then you eat it. It's great.
And then you drink a cup of butter. Like,
then you just slather your body in butter.
Yeah.
You get the butter
lobster
bath.
roll.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So you survived it. You learned something, right? You learned to listen to yourself and that it's okay to go, oh well, you know what, you just have to get used to it. You can just say, I don't think that's something I really want to get used to.
Choose
you, yeah.
I mean, I made that decision very early on and just was killing time, honestly.
Yeah.
You know?
You just look in your watch. Oh, 73 hours, 22 minutes till she goes.
Seriously.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, we've all been there. When I was 19 years old, got together with a guy that I'd hooked up with in high school. He invited me on a surf trip. And I was so excited. Oh, I'm going on a surf trip. It was just shitty from the minute I got in the van. Just shitty.
How long was the trip?
It was like 3 days.
Yeah.
He would go off and surf.
Sucks.
Was... I was there with him and another woman. So the two guys would go off and surf, and we would literally be left in the van that was just parked in a random place. It was so... Oh,
you didn't want to surf?
God. I wasn't invited to surf. And the fact that it didn't even occur to me that I was like, you guys are going to the beach? Can we fucking come? I mean, it
didn't occur to you to ask. Why didn't you get out of the van?
I mean, I don't know. It's a blur. It was a long time ago, to be fair. And
Nelsie was probably just super high and laying around being like, see when you get back.
And he wasn't even good in bed. He wasn't even good in bed.
Oh, this story is terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible.
My counter story. I'm going to throw my story in from college when some guy came to visit me for a weekend who had a crush on me for years. I was never interested, but then I was like, you know what? He's coming for the weekend. And part of me wondered if it was my responsibility to show him a good time. And
yes.
All I know is that I had zero interest in being intimate with him, making out, anything. I wasn't interested, but I felt a responsibility, and I didn't know. I mean, it's so ridiculous reflecting on it, all of us, right, in these stories. And I was younger than you at the time, but still this idea that I can't choose me. It's not about me. He's coming to visit, and he's coming for the weekend, and I got to show him a good time. And it's not about going to the club. It's about having sex with him. Obviously, that's why he's here.
Yeah,
right.
And I got to show him a good time.
Why else would he come to New York City?
Except to have sex with me. What else does New York have to offer? Seriously.
That's crazy, though.
So, by the way, doesn't matter where you are. It's still he could have chosen to go anywhere for that weekend. He decided to come to New York City. Obviously, he wanted to have sex with me. He also may have made it clear. I don't really know. I might have flirted with him over the phone because he was at a safe distance. That might have been the case. But once he arrived, I was like, oh, hell no. And then all I remember now is that I had these flannel sheets.
Yeah.
what stands out to me about that weekend is that I was so irritated by him and so just didn't want to have anything to do with him. Namely because I wasn't able to be like, dude, this isn't going to happen. Let's just go have a good time.
Yeah.
And because I couldn't speak my truth, therefore I constantly felt guilty. And instead of articulating my guilt or my feelings, I wasn't very nice to him. And but the other takeaway is where I was just avoiding, and I don't know, I was sure I was being a shit. But what I also remember is that he was a very hairy guy, and I had these white flannel sheets.
Oh no!
And there was hair just sticking out of it in all these places. I was like, this is disgusting.
Yeah, it looked like a black lab had shedded.
Oh my god! But just like you had to like pick each one out. You couldn't just wash that.
You couldn't just
you
wash
had to
that.
pick them out.
Not even
terrible.
a lint roller would probably work. It's like
No,
it's like in there.
You keep rolling with the lint roller, and they're still there. Oh, it's just, and yet we go on, and yet we go on.
And yet I've made it to this age, and I still
think
have
about
those
it.
sheets.
These are the
Oh my God.
things that build character.
I framed a piece of it and put it in as a reminder. Speak your truth, Heidi. Speak your truth.
With the hair still sticking out.
Of course.
And it's needle pointed. Speak the truth.
Oh my God.
Part of it. That's
I'm selling them
Written
on
in his hair.
Etsy.
Well, I think that though that was a harrowing story in many ways.
It's a hairy
Ronnie.
story. Sorry.
I think it was we all, it's not like we all have some version of that, or many people have some version of that. And it comes back to communicate, and
shorten the story.
And
I mean, I tried.
And
There's so much
tell
more.
your
I
truth,
just,
say
but
your truth.
yeah,
There's so much more of that story.
yeah, but it's not even worth getting into. That was the most important part.
There is not even a small part of me, Ronnie, that wants to hear it.
Yeah, I don't think I can tell it again. I've told it like 6 times. Just to people.
Was it better then?
No, it's worse.
And all of your peers are like, oh, dude.
Yeah, they're like, what the fuck is?
Yeah, what are your friends saying?
We were just like,
yeah.
why did you say 4 days? Like, why did you say like a weekend? I'm like, yeah. True.
Oh, that would if it was 3. If it was only 3 days, it would have been so much better.
If it was like 2 nights.
But you don't come from
but if
Seattle
it was 2
to
nights,
New Hampshire for 2 nights. Come on.
On an international flight.
International flight. Yeah, all the way from Seattle. I mean, it is a completely different world. 6 hours on the plane.
Oh, my Lord.
6 hours.
Also, is anybody vaccinated?
She was vaccinated.
Yeah, 6 hours on the plane for a little tushy job. She flew 6 hours and then drove an hour and a half just so she could criticize you. That's
what I'm
love.
saying.
Oh, wow. All
yeah,
right.
and she even texts me back. Like, she'll text me every now and then, and I just don't respond to any of it. Like, why do we have to keep this going? Let's stop this.
Well, that's a good text back. Let's stop this.
You could also write her a text and just say, I don't even know what happened that weekend, but I know that if I could have done it differently, I would have asked you what was going on that weekend, because don't say any of that. I would just simply say, I would text her and maybe text her and say, I don't even know.
The thing is, I'm not interested in continuing a conversation or relationship.
I think texting. I think you're smart, Ronnie, because you not responding says everything. That says everything.
Yeah.
Even texting back and saying "Let's stop this" is the opposite of "Let's stop this." So.
Yeah.
What are you? I don't agree with Nelsie ghosting. Nelsie's advice to ghost her. I don't know if I agree with that story.
Because I just don't think he's going to get anywhere with her.
But he could still speak his truth. Say, I don't really want to get engaged with you anymore. I don't want to. I didn't like. What was her character? I really didn't enjoy being.
That's just my
with
attitude.
Your character. That's my attitude. I didn't really enjoy your attitude, and I don't. Feel free to stop texting. I don't want to ghost you, but I'm not interested in engaging. You could, rather than just ghost.
But that would be the last thing I'd say.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That would be the last thing.
100%.
Yeah.
Don't call me again.
She knows where I live now, so.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's not coming back.
No, she's moving on to somebody else.
She's definitely not coming.
I think.
But I'm bummed.
Me neither.
All right, I think we covered it. Did we cover it?
Yeah.
All right.
Every pubic hair and a flannel. We covered it.
Oh, God. That's so gross.
That's what they're like, pubic hairs. Sorry, did I not give that image?
Yeah,
it's not
no,
just
you
body
didn't.
hair. I mean, they look like pubic hair.
They're curly. Oh,
right? And so
What color was
I'm
his
like,
hair?
black. Of course. Yeah. White sheet, black pubic hair everywhere. Yeah. Black, curly, hard, short, curlied, pubic.
Okay, that's enough.
Everywhere.
That's
It's
enough.
like cookies and
That's
cream.
enough.
On the pillow, too, by the way. White flannel pillowcase.
Okay.
Like
I'm not
cookies and
going to
cream ice
sleep
cream,
tonight.
right?
What, Ronnie?
What, Ronnie?
Cookies and cream ice cream.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
A, I'm not going to sleep tonight. B, I will never have cookies and cream ice cream
C,
again.
she's lying. All of the above is a lie.
So, Ronnie, I feel like that this has been a very fruitful and not long, but I think we're done. Am I right? We don't have time for another.
No,
Do we?
yeah, that was. It doesn't deserve another.
It was epic. It was epic. Okay, so guys, please rate, review, subscribe, DM us on Instagram at Losing It Podcast, and you can comment below if you're watching us on YouTube. Please subscribe. Please tell your friends, and you can reach Heidi on Heidi Haddad.
Yeah.
On Twitter, and also at Head and Heart Therapy. And she's there to answer questions and enjoying it quite a bit. And she's getting a lot of people asking her questions. So
Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern. Live.
There you go. Live with Heidi Haddad.
1 hour.
1 hour. Okay? We done?
60 minutos.
Yeah.
All right. So once again, the energy just fell. Just fell.
Oh, I thought we were going to end it. I thought we were.
We are ending it, but can we end it with some enthusiasm? God damn it, what I have to do with you two. All right.
Good. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it. You came and you listened to the story. I hope so much that it didn't make you sorry, and I hope so much that you'll come back again.
Losing It, hosted by Nelsie Spencer. Produced by me, Ronnie Whaley. Theme song by Hunter Williams. Follow us online on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all podcasting platforms at Losing It Podcast. Viewers can email Nelsie with questions or comments about life, writing, comedy, or even your own Losing It story for a chance to be on the Losing It Podcast at losingitcontact@gmail.com. For everything Nelsie and everything Losing It, visit us at nelsiespencer.com.